Hello guys, it's me again. This time I'm trying to make a video to help some people out to decide whether or not, what to sell or not to sell in the auction house. Because for me, when I first started out, it was a big problem. I couldn't figure out what to sell, what was even worth selling, or anything like that. Most of this is going to be level 60 content, as far as earlier stuff, that just depends if you got, a low level item with very, very good stats on it for that level, of course that's going to sell well in the auction house. So, what I'm going to show you, let's enter the auction house here. Some of my auctions out right here. Okay, first what you're looking for is anything with three or more primary stats. Primary stats are not just strength, dexterity, intellect, vitality. It's not just those. Like, for instance, the pants I'm wearing right now. You know, you got magic fine. If you have vitality and percent of life on it, that's going to sell for a lot. Uh, Another primary stat a lot of people don't think of as a primary stat, to me, would be the level requirement reduced by 2. Okay, you want that on, if you can have that out on an item and it doesn't lower the value. Be honest, it actually raises the value of it. Well, not by 2, but say like if you had this piece of gear, but it said level requirement reduced by 13. That means this level 60, piece of gear is going to be available 13 levels earlier. So obviously, that's something they can get, and you could sell that for a lot more. Someone level 60 might even buy it. But what you're looking at is for them to use something that they won't get rid of soon because they're going to use it for the next 13 plus levels. So what you're really looking at is for several different primary stats. Of course, anything that's set item or legendary item, you can pretty much sell in auction house. Doesn't mean you're going to get a lot for it, but you should be able to at least sell it. Okay, another example, this helm has a high intellect, attack speed increase, critical hit chance, and I know it says 16% more fire damage enabled, but if you balance that out with resistance, that won't even matter at all. Uh, those are kind of things what you're really looking for. And now, if you're looking for something with only 3 stats on it, let me see if I can find one. Like this one right here. It's only got really, well, that's got 4 on it, but you got your resist all, your crit hit damage, and your crit hit chance. Those are your things you're really looking for, and the magic find, that'll bump the price up by a lot. And like these shoulders, they have really good int, good vitality, got resist all plus magic find. Those sell for quite a good bit on the auction house. Um, some of the things you're really not trying to sell, I have some of these in here just to show y'all, like the belt right here. It's got a very good strength. It's an okay vitality, but it's only got physical resistance, so that's not really going to sell too much. You might be able to sell it for, like, see, the sell value for a vendor is 1,600. You might be able to sell it for 3,000. It just depends. But that's not really worth your time, save up. You can just vendor trash that stuff. This amulet is actually pretty good to sell because it has 3 good stats. It has the resist all elements, crit hit damage, and the magic find. Now, the magic find for an amulet, 21% is not that good, so it ain't going to go for a lot, like this one right here. Magic find's 33. But it'll still sell a lot more than what the vendor's sell value is. So you just might as well just store it up on the auction house and try to get rid of it. Um, Other things like this wizard hat right here. I mean, it doesn't have very high stats for a level 60 item, but it's got, you got your hit crit chance, you got increased arcane power, that's a giant grip right there for health globes and potions. They grant 10,000 more health. So that'll help a wizard out a lot, especially if they're in trouble. You got a potion that already does, so, whatever it is, 15,000 I think it is, let's see. But, it's still, it's an extra 10,000 on top of every single health globe and potion on it, so that should sell pretty good because it's a good survivability for a wizard. Now, as far as some armors, they don't really give a lot of stats on all of them. Like, these bracers are actually pretty decent. Crit hit chance, you got your life regen, you got a high int. So I mean, just depending what you're looking at, You want to know that whatever class you're playing, whether it be a barbarian, a witch doctor, a demon hunter, whatever it is, you got to make sure you got a high stat. If it has no stats, like as in, there's no dex, no int, no vi, if it has a high crit hit and a high crit chance, most likely it's going to sell good because those are your damage. You're going to put those on there and you're going to go a lot further. And as far as getting geared for other stuff, you look at this. I got an item right here. Say that this necklace, you got the percent chance to find magical items, and you're looking at crit hit, crit damage. But that's not really in-game stuff. That's farming material right there. So because you got your magical find, because if you want to try to get up to MP10, you gotta get something better. See, if I search for similar items, there's nothing better, you know. But as soon as you take that magic find off, see, you're gonna get a lot better stuff, a lot of high-priced items. This one right here, that would increase my crit hit chance, my crit hit damage, my resistance goes up, my life will go up, more armor, more everything. See, so if you want to get the in-game stuff, you're only going to get to about, I'd say, you could probably do MP4, pushing it with magic find items, if you have magic find on an item. Now, some items that are really good come with the magic find, so I mean that helps you out a little bit too. But if you're trying to get into the higher monster powers, such as 7, 8, 9, 10, you're gonna look for stuff that doesn't have any magic find. And your stuff that you're wearing now, you can just instantly click, just take off that magic find, and you see what comes up. I mean, look, you got this stuff right here, makes it go up a lot. So I mean, that's just what you're looking for when you're selling anything that you would increase your stats with. If you find something that doesn't relate to you, but it's the same thing, such as, say, like this enemy that I'm looking at right now, it's 130 int, 8% life, crit hit damage, crit chance, and if you're a witch doctor or a wizard, you're gonna want those. But it's if you're playing a witch doctor or a wizard, and that says instead of plus 130 to int, if that said 130 to dex or 130 to strength, that's going to be worth around 18 million right there, because you're not going to use it on that character. So you might as well jump it on the auction house, because a barbarian, or barbarian if it's strength, or a monk or demon hunter would love that if it had dex on it. I mean, that's a pretty good weapon right there. I mean, a pretty good amulet. But that's the kind of stuff you really want to look for. If you get anything that's just trash, has a couple items, just trash it. I mean, you're going to make more money off of it. You're not going to have a chance to sell in an auction house. Another thing is, right there it says item level. You really don't want to try to put anything on that on the auction house that's, I'd say, lower than item level of 59. Most people say 60, but 59 is what I say, because every now and then item level of 59 will still have some decent stats. Also on weapons, you got one-handed weapons. Any one-handed weapon, that doesn't have a high crit damage or high ability such as this one, that's under 800, you might as well just trash it right then and there, because it's not even worth much. One hand, if you get one that's worth 1,000, I don't care what kind of stats on it, you could probably sell it for a nice little penny. As far as two-handed weapons, if they're see how that one is? It has over 1,000. That's going to be worth something to a barbarian, especially with 312 strength sitting on it. I mean, I could probably sell that one for a good, 500,000 or so, just depending on the market at the time. But with those kind of stats on it, you're not going to want to sell any two-hander under 900 DPS, unless, like I said, it has massive properties on it. So that's the kind of stuff you really want to look for. As far as armor, the actual armor on it doesn't really matter at all when you're trying to sell it. What people are mostly looking for is what's on the armor, whether it's got your magic find, all resists, high vitality, intellect, strength, or dexterity, or if it's got like this ring, your crit hit damage, your crit hit chance. Those are the specific things you're looking for. And even if an item doesn't have vitality, like this ring doesn't have vitality, but it does because of the percent to life. Another factor you're trying to look for on any gear is life per hit. A lot of people say, well, you can get life per damage percent of damage, but overall, the life percent of damage isn't going to do much until you're doing over 120,000 or something. You're doing a lot of damage, then it'll be worth to get the life per hit over the, I mean, the life per percent of damage. Then it would be life on hit, because you can get life on hit stuff that does 500 per hit. Well, if you're hitting constantly, you're gonna get a lot of life, especially Barbarian's Whirlwind, anything that does AoE damage. Each one that it hits is considered a hit. So if you got a mob of 30 creatures coming at you, and you do an AoE and hits all 30 of them, see what I'm saying? It's gonna, it's gonna be a nice little bit of chunk of health given to you each time you hit all 30 of them. As far as single target, when right now life per hit's good for you, but on the percent of damage is only be better when you're doing a lot of damage on single targets, because then you're going to get a lot more, because you don't have that area effect to add up those per hits. So, I mean, just when you're looking at stuff, just make sure it has at least 4 major attributes. Just to recap, those major attributes are dexterity, strength, intelligence, vitality, magic find, resist to all elements. If it has some kind of resist on it, and it's not all elements, that's okay, but you really want to resist to all elements. You want life per hit, or life percent per damage. Those are your major things. Even if it has 10% to life, or like this one says each hit adds 375. Those are the kind of things you really want to look for. Level requirement reduce is the last thing you look at. If you got a pretty good item but it's not perfect, like if you got 3 or 4 three stats that are like really high, go ahead and sell it if it's got level requirement reduced, because that means it's not 60 no more. It's 58 or 40. I mean, you're talking about if something like this, even if it had only 100 int and 80 vitality and 100 life per hit and 5% to life and only 15 to magic find. If that was down to 40s, where it dropped the item level down to where it can use the required level down to 40, someone's gonna buy it. It's just a really overall good item. So you want to make, at least if you have 3 properties, you have to make sure you have a lot. Or if you have 4 properties, you might as well just go at least try to sell it. I mean, that'd be worth selling. I mean, if anything has sockets on it, each socket you really don't want to add but maybe 1 ability. So if you have 3 abilities plus 2 sockets, that's technically you having 4 abilities, because anybody, they can put whatever they want it. Especially weapons with sockets, because as you see, the emeralds, when they're put in a weapon, increase crit hit damage. So if you sit there and you can gem it to make it worth more, or you can just leave it open. Either way, it's going to be worth a lot more. So I hope this has helped y'all out. I know that when else a friend finally explained it to me, it took forever, but they explained it to me, and it made it easier for me to realize what's important to keep, why you want to keep it, and all like that. And I really hope this helps y'all out, and I look forward to seeing y'all next video. Don't be afraid to subscribe.